Folks who have done econometric studies of inequality, and they've looked across the world, advanced industrial cases, Latin American cases, and the like, and what do they find in this econometric work? They would find, like you might predict in a study of Brazil, that high levels of inequality overall across these different regions of the world tend to support high levels of violence. So that might lead you to think that that, in fact, might also hold true for Latin America. However, in that very same study that finds these statistically significant findings for inequality, they also note that inequality doesn't seem to have the same impact on Latin America. And now I have to put on my glasses to read my little scratch here in pencils. What they actually find is that there are higher homicide rates than inequality would suggest for Latin America, first of all. But moreover, those findings are not necessarily statistically significant. Where there is some statistical significance might be in terms of robberies, but inequality is not necessarily, doesn't seem to actually explain in these econometric studies what is actually happening in terms of the levels of violence we find. There's something particular about Latin America that's in place. It's not the production of this good, but it's the movement of this good that is becoming consequential. And why do I say this? If you look at the countries that have produced the cocaine in particular, these are the Andean cases of Peru, Bolivia, and Colombia. These are not the cases where the violence is the highest. Where the violence is the highest is precisely those areas where there's been the trade and transit. Why? How do we understand where these goods are being moved? I've just mapped on very, very quickly that there seems to be a pattern geographically, but how do we understand where they are actually moving? And here I want to suggest, and I want to be really upfront here. I think this is one of the hardest things to demonstrate for reasons that we can talk about during the Q&A. But I want to suggest here that the illicit economies are growing in areas where you have either state weakness or state complicity. So let me unpack that with you for a few moments.